Thank you, Georgia. So I covered the last part, and I promise to be brief. Imaging report is the other use case, and I mean, it basically works the same as Georgia has just explained as with the other use cases. What I want to make you aware of is that, for example, in imaging report, we also have an international development of that standard. And to be clear, we are talking about the fire-based standards. All of these use cases have already a long tradition of standardization. So for example, lab report has a CDA-based standard for very, very long years. Patient summary was starting even with EPSOS, and all of these things. When we talk about standards here, we talk about fire-based standards. So that means the implementation of this use case in fire. So that means we don't start from scratch. We use all the experience in all of these use cases, which has accumulated so far. And for imaging report, for example, we have this international project in IAG International, which works at the same thing. But we have a race condition here. So we need to be faster. So what we try as standards organizations here is priority has the creation of the European standard. But we try to keep contact with the international standard as good as we can and try to keep synchronized. That's the best we can do. I mean, ideally, we would derive from the international standard. But if the international standard is not there, the tail wags with the dog. And this is what we are doing right now. But this works quite well. The persons acting are connected very good. There's a good work together between Europe and international and HL7 and IAG. So this is really running well. And for imaging, that's the case. The same as for medication prescription dispense. There's also an international version of it. But we sort of have a parallel development now of Europe, which we try to keep synchronized. There are anyway some differences which need to be considered. For example, we want here in Europe, for example, fire release 4, but the current fire release is 6. So there are differences on that level. So it makes sense to do it in that way. As Claudia mentioned, we already have a cooperation of many entities. So we have XDHR here, of course, in the leading position. But we have projects like ICMANTH, which contributed. We had a project even eHealth, which contributed. ICShare contributes, nationals, and so on. And this is a very nice involvement of the stakeholders on an international level, on a European and international level. And this makes sure that the outcome is a good one. You here see some numbers, which I don't go into in detail now, but you see over 100 participants on the lab report development, over 100 on the prescription dispense. So this is a significant number of people and brains who work on this to ensure that the outcome is good. And last but not least, this is what the standards development organizations, HL7 and IAG, offer. Because we more and more cooperate, so there we try to, unite this as good as we can to give a neat and easy to have a grip on picture to outside. So, for example, we have this left part of the story, which is what everyone knows of you maybe as an HL7 Fire connectodon, which is a general connectodon regarding fire resources and fire implementation guides. And HL7 Europe arranges now in what we call an EEHRton in Lisbon, which is explicitly there for shaping up all of these implementation guides, which I mentioned. There are also, IG does also things like this, IG pluggathons. It's a format which combines education with some experimenting, testing. So this is this layer. And this is done by HL7 and by IAG. And we try to stagger that so that, for example, there's an EEHRton now in Lisbon. And there will be a pluggathon in the IAG connectodon in Vienna later this year in June, so that all of these things build up on top of each other. The other test stage, if you want, is if you have real already products or prototypes of products which are going to be sold on the market ready. Therefore, you go on an IHG Connectathon in general, or for example, in case of EHDS, maybe on a EHDS Projectathon, which are tailored to those project specifications. And then the third layer is a EU conformity assessment. And we all heard of that, and we are looking forward from the standards perspective and offer our cooperation entirely to EEHR to help this shaping out in the right way. Thank you.